I remember about 15 years ago, we've had almost 50 sales, 50 years, almost been 50 years that we've been having bull sales at our house. And with those sales, people love to come. It's a great place to visit. It's a great place to see people. And they love to watch our horses work the bulls. Because it's kind of a unique thing that you don't see everywhere you go. Right, Andrea? It's a little bit unique. And what, technology was coming along about 15 years ago. And our next speaker and some of his team said, hey, we want to broadcast your sale over the internet so that other people who can't make it can come and watch. They can even bid online or on the phone while they're watching the video. Oh, man, that sounds kind of neat. But, and at that point in time, there were a few people that were starting to do sales without even running the cattle through the ring. And I thought, boy, that's foreign territory. We'll never do that. Well, the old saying, never say never, came back to haunt us. But Jason Barber and some of his cohorts said, hey, why don't you ask 20 of your best customers what they think about just video and just doing the video and not showing the cattle. I said, oh, well, that'll be no problem. I'll do it. I love to talk to those guys anyway. They'll never go for this. I talked to 20 of them. 19 of them said, no problem. As long as the cattle are right there where I can see them before the auction, I'm going to have my picking out already done. And it doesn't matter whether you run them through the ring or show me a video. But one of them said, oh, no, I got to see them in the ring. So we just kept going with the ring. That was our plan for that sale until the day before, and we got 4 inches of rain. Now, let's just think about 4 inches of rain, how wonderful that would be right now. Woo, yeah. Let's keep praying for that. We're another day closer. But it was so muddy, and it was an absolute mess. And I happened to call that guy that said, got to see him in the ring. He said, we just did our inventory, and not going to need any bulls this year. And I hooked onto the cutting torch, and we went and cut our sale ring down and bought 5 big screen TVs. And this company broadcast our sale, and we've been doing it that way ever since. So it's unique and it's different. But I'm going to tell you, this pandemic over the last 2 years, I think has created much more opportunity that's helped all of us get out of our comfort zone and using more of this technology that's available. So Jason's been with Superior Livestock Auction, the largest livestock merchandising company in North America, for 16 years. Grew up in Channing, the big thriving metropolis of Channing, Texas, raising Hereford cattle. He works with Superior Productions. That's the seed stock sales, the bull sales. Also liveauctions.tv, and then he's a co-founder of Smart Auctions, timed auctions that a lot more people are using every year. I'm excited to hear what Jason has to say because there are some really cool opportunities, some neat technologies, and I'm going to bet one of them he's going to talk about. Let me just ask this. How many of you have seen an ad on your smart device today from me? Has anybody seen an ad today from me? Some of you have. All right? You're likely to see in the next 48 hours an ad from me. That's some of the technology that, please welcome Jason Barber.
Well, thank you, Donald, and also like to thank Andy Holloway. It's an honor to be here. When Andy first got this going here a few years ago, I came and spoke in 2017, and it's really been amazing to see how well he's grown this. And if you know Andy Holloway well, you know that he really found his niche in life marketing, and he does a great job doing it. So very honored to come be here and help you. And also to come up here and speak here at a big beef conference here in the Panhandle is dear to my heart since I grew up here. And he did ask me to speak on utilizing technology, which I do feel like Superior Livestock is definitely a technology company within the beef industry. So to me, that's a natural fit. But before I get going, just to tell you a little bit about Superior Livestock, I'm in my 16th year there, but the vice president of Superior Livestock from Amarillo, our head information technology officers from Amarillo, our chief editor, and the voice of Superior Livestock, who's been with Superior from the beginning, is also from Florida, Texas. So we really have a lot of roots up here. And another reason I like to come up here is some of the absolute best cattle that we sell on Superior Livestock year in and year out are from the Texas Panhandle. And today I'm here also to support 4 excellent reps that we have that are back here in the corner at the Superior booth. Carson Womble, Will Durrett, Clint DeArmond, and Brady Waite are excellent reps. And if you watch our big feeder calf sales in the summertime, traditionally our largest 5-day sale is the week in the Rockies, and that's about the second week in July. But the first day of that auction every year is going to be almost entirely cattle from the Panhandle that those guys rep, and they'll rep over 10,000 head that day. So I know there's going to be some time to ask me questions when this is over with, but those guys are excellent options if you want to visit about really truly selling cattle on Superior. And I also see a lot of people here that currently do sell on Superior, so I'm sure those guys will give a good testimony for them. With that being said, I'm not going to take too long. I know that I'm probably the last thing standing between most people here in the social hour and possibly a cold beer, so I'm going to roll through this. But Superior Livestock Auction, we are North America's largest cattle merchandiser. We've got 4 locations. We just opened up an office in Boise, Idaho. We have an office in Brush, Colorado, an office in Oklahoma City, and we moved out of the Fort Worth stockyards to Hudson Oaks, which is in between Weatherford and Fort Worth, Texas right now. But we believe we are a national company, an American company, and we sell cattle from all over the United States. We have over 400 reps across the globe. So again, we've got 4 really good ones back here today that would definitely love the opportunity to help y'all market your cattle. And last year we sold over 1.5 million head of cattle, and we have 3 different ways of marketing. And the technology has changed on that. When we first started, we went to primarily video auctions that were broadcast on C-band satellites back in the day. Currently, we're on Dish Network. Last week, we started broadcasting in high definition on Dish Network for the first time ever. So the technology continues to change at Superior, and we definitely try to stay ahead of the curve. But this last year, we had 70 auction days on Superior Livestock Auction. So we have our traditional video auctions that are every other week. Those have a print catalog. The weeks in between, we also do a smaller auction where we don't send out a print catalog, but we do have a catalog online. And then truly the majority of the cattle that we sell on Superior sell in the summertime, and they're contracted for future delivery. So when the market's hot and good in the summertime, that's when most of our cattle sell, and then they deliver in October, November, later on in the fall. But our video auction is still our primary way. That's where we sell most of our cattle. That week in the Rockies auction I just talked about, the week of July 11th through the 15th. The consignment deadline is June 22nd, so you've definitely got time to give some consideration, visit with those guys, and then back if you think that might be an option for you. But on the video auction, like I said, it's pretty much every other week, and in the summertime, they're 3, 4, 5-day auctions. A lot of the guys that sell in those summer auctions sell there traditionally every year in that particular auction, regardless of the market. And one thing that we like about that is, as y'all have seen, about anything can crash the cattle board on any given day. But the cattle that sell in those sales traditionally sell strong regardless of how the board plays out that day. One of the newer methods that we have for selling cattle is the country page. And this is more of a eBay-style private treaty listing for selling cattle. So if you've got a low lot of cattle and you know what price you want for them, here's an opportunity to list a set of cattle online on our website, fill out the contract, do all the details you do for a regular video auction, but there's no consignment deadline, and you set your asking price. So if you've got a set of 8-weight steers and you want $1.65 for them, you can put on there that the asking price is $1.65, and if a buyer looks at that and bids $1.65, they're sold. It's an automatic sale. If someone bids underneath it, they have that opportunity too. We've got a couple guys that run the country page that are available 24/7, 7 days a week. So if there's a bid underneath that, they will communicate it to the seller, and they may negotiate it. But again, if they bid what they're asking, it's an automatic sell. That bid could stay good for 24 hours. It could stay good for 2 hours. It just depends on the person offering the bid. When the market went down on Monday, a lot of bids changed that day. But it does give flexibility, and there's a lot of communication in it, and it's a very good option for people who don't want to deal with the deadlines. And then our next option, one that's we sold 175,000 head last year, is private treaty. There's no consignment fee. There's just a 2% commission. One thing about our reps, the good ones, they definitely have some really strong relationships with buyers. So if you've got a set of cattle that you think would fit that, they'd still come out, they'd fill the contract out, and they do all the process of sorting, delivery, and paying you through a bonded custodial account. So That one also gives you some flexibility if you don't want to wait till sale day. And then, what do they have in common? It's cattle that are marketed the superior way. Our reps, they're industry professionals, and this is what they do. This is their livelihood. So they're going to offer you guidance. They're going to help you with the marketing. They're going to give you advice. And of course, later in the presentation, I'm going to go over animal factors and value-added programs that positively impact you on sale day and add value. But these guys, they're knowledgeable about that, so they'd love to visit with you on that. They're going to write the contract. They're going to video the cattle. And then I have seller on the phone, but really it's communication here. They're going to be in communication with the buyer and the seller throughout the process. And then again, you're going to be paid on a bonded custodial account, which I don't know how many people remember 12, 13 years ago when Eastern Livestock went under, but at the time, they were our largest buyer. If you watch one of our sales on television, there's probably a 14, 15-second delay. They're buying a third out of every one of our auctions. So when those cattle were selling, there was no delay for them. And then they went underneath. And this was, like I said, they were buying a third of the cattle. Well, that put a lot of people under. A lot of mom and pops or people that couldn't sustain that kind of economic loss definitely tumbled. Superior Livestock, instead of crumbling, we went ahead and paid out all of our consigners, sent people to their office to try to get the paperwork and deliveries straightened out. But we ended up selling the cattle and paying them out. Every guy that had already sold cattle, we went ahead and paid them through our bonded custodial account. And we took the hit on that. And if you watch the next several months of auctions, the seller that listed on the cattle was Superior Livestock Auction. So we resold it. We made it right with our consigners. And truthfully, we gained a lot of business after that fact because we did the right thing on it. But you always know that you've got 100% guaranteed payment with Superior Livestock. And then, how does Superior promote your cattle on video auctions? We do have an active buyer base of 6,500 plus. And when I say active buyer base, it is truly active because one of the biggest pieces of overhead that we've had in my 16 years at Superior, we've still not found the right way to eliminate this one. But the biggest piece of overhead, one of the bigger ones, is a print catalog that we mail out. So if you're not an active buyer, we don't want to go through the cost of sending out this big, thick catalog for all these auctions when we have them that way. So we definitely make sure that our buyers are active, and we do a lot of credit checks. We make sure that there's always money in the account to cover a load lot purchase. Then the cattle are listed online in addition to sending out those print catalogs. If you go to superiorlivestock.com, you'll see our online catalog, and today we've got it to where you can sort, filter the lots by breed type, by sex, by value-added programs. You can even sort them by where the bulls were purchased that sired the load lot. But, again, it's relationship with buyers. These reps that have been there for a long time have a lot of those. And then, of course, on sale day, the cattle were sold, broadcast on national TV on Dish Network 997. Again, we went into HD last week. They're also broadcast online at superiorlivestock.com and superiorclicktobid.com. And then just before I get more into the data, just some additional advantages of selling on Superior is we're the largest cattle auction in North America, meaning we've also got the largest buyer list. But we give you the option to sell on contract and deliver later, and that's a big one. And even if you're someone that, hey, I'm not sure what my cattle are going to weigh in the fall and I'm a little bit unsure of that, you can sell them on contract and then deliver immediately afterwards in the fall too. So, we've definitely got options there. A big advantage of selling on Superior is as the premiums for value-added programs. If you have the management and have done all the programs and the right steps to have that in place, you know that you have the highest percentage of being rewarded for that on Superior as anywhere out there. Cattle are sold country fresh, direct from the ranch. The seller does determine the weighing conditions, and then the buyer actually pays for the trucking. So honestly, a very good deal for the seller. And I've already hit on the guaranteed payments. The other part is Superior really makes an effort in connecting the purebred and the commercial world. I deal a lot with our purebred stuff, and that part of the business is profitable, but it's not crazy. The real value in us being involved in broadcasting 800-something production sales a year is it affects our core business in a positive way. It helps identify good genetics that are selling on Superior, and there's just a lot of value in that to us. More specifically, our reps are going to manage your expectations, or they're going to try to. They're going to come consult with you. They're going to present the data. I'm going to show you in a minute that here's the programs that have brought a premium, and here's what we would expect, and here's what you can expect on that. So they'll evaluate the cattle. They'll write up the contract. They'll videotape the cattle. And then on sale day, and this isn't talked about a lot, but cattle that sell on Superior, if you're consigned to an auction and that board just goes limit down that day, you have the option to scratch those cattle and consign them to one of our next 2 consecutive auctions without getting a scratch for no sale fee. So it does give you some flexibility there. And then while the cattle sell on Superior, our reps have the consigner on the phone while those cattle sell, because if you're a seller, you do have the option to no sell the cattle after that lot sells, but you have to announce that it's a PO before the next lot sells. So, really it's just communication. Once the cattle are sold, the rep's going to contact the buyer. They're going to visit about it. And really, our rep acts as a representative on the behalf of the seller, but then after the cattle are sold, are also a representative on behalf of the buyer. Because on delivery day, they're going to come out there, they're going to help you sort the cattle. They're going to make sure everything that goes on that truck is exactly expressed in that contract and very detailed. They'll get them on there. Once they're loaded, they'll do the paperwork. They will cut you a check that day for the cattle, and then they'll call the figures into the buyer to make sure they're in the right weight class and going to the right place. Some of the questions we get asked a lot is how do you sell your calves or cattle at the correct weight for future deliveries? This one's obviously important when you sell in the summer and deliver in the fall, but the answer to that is have good records of what your cattle traditionally wean off at and what they weigh at certain times of the year. Obviously, drought, rain conditions have a lot of effect on that, but good records definitely. Also having enough cattle to do a good sort on there, which I'll get into that a little bit later. What health program should I use? I'll always tell you, consult your local vet to figure that out. But definitely want to be on a VAC program if you're going to sell on Superior, and I'll get into that a little bit later too. And then what value-added programs will give me the greatest chance to sell my cattle for premium? I'm going to go through that here in just a little bit too. But just some additional recommendations. If you sell on Superior, we do recommend that you sell the cattle with the equivalent of a 3% shrink on the ground. So if you took them and loaded them on a truck and hauled them 10 miles, 15 miles, you'd probably sell them with a 2% shrink. We like 2-week delivery windows on there. And then we'll sell heifers with an appropriate dollars back amount. Truthfully, I think when you sell on Superior, selling steers separate from heifers is the way to do it. I believe the heifers always bring the steers down more than the steers bring the heifers up, but I'm going to also show you figures that'll back that up. So just talking about the figures I'm about to show, first I'm going to go through animal factors that influence prices positively on sale day, then I'll go into the actual value-added programs. But as we go through these figures, they are from 2020. That's our latest data on there. So I don't know if I'd concentrate exactly on this is the exact dollar amount, but you can definitely look at what this value-added program did compared to the other one and kind of what the margins are in between them. The average lot, this is actually over 6,848 lots. The average weight of the cattle were 577 pounds. So when we go through this and you see the per hundred weight, know that our average weight's close to 600 pounds, so this can be multiplied by 6. And then the average lot size was 118 head in the study. Average sale price was $1.52 back in 2020. Here's just an animal factor that shows that steers and heifers, in 2020, the price on the heifers was about $10 back behind the steers per hundredweight. And obviously a mixed load was $16 behind the steers. No horns was about an $8 head premium last time we did research on this. Frame effects, medium large is going to be the most ideal. At least that's what the buyers are telling us on Superior. That's the ones that have the best chance on having a premium. And then flesh effects on here. Our data shows that medium to heavy or heavy fleshed calves definitely yields a few dollars back. Right here, it's $11 a head. And then weight variation effects on cattle. So it shows you fairly even cattle or just above the base. When we talk about fairly even cattle, that is within 10% of the base weight. So if you sell a set of cattle on Superior and they're supposed to average 500 pounds, 10% of 500 is 50 pounds, so you can go to 550 or down to 450, but you need to stay within that 10% either side of what the average base weight is. Uneven is going to be within 10 to 15% of the average base weight, and very uneven is going to be 15 to 25%, and obviously $15 head is discounted on very uneven cattle. And then breed effects on cattle. British is the base on this. You can see Continentals pretty close. Holstein, straight Holstein, was $11 a head back that time. But something that has been really popular on Superior, and we see more and more of each year right now, is Holstein or dairy beef cross, and those cattle are selling really well, and especially the ones that are verified natural and NHTC are really selling well on there. And then this is just a slide of what cattle look like, what the video auction looks like on sale day. You see up there the consignor, location, the price, the head count, what they weigh when they deliver, the rep, and if they're home raised or not. And then there at the bottom, those are the value-added logos. And truthfully, if you watch the sales that are on Superior, the cattle with the most logos generally bring the most dollars too. So it seems like we've got a value-added program for just about everything these days. And then before we get into the VAC programs, just a quote that I really like regarding Superior's major contribution to U.S. cattle health. This is from Glenn Rogers. He said that Superior Livestock's support of VAC protocols has done more to increase the implementation of routine calf health protocols than any similar endeavor in the history of the beef industry, which those VAC stands for Value-Added Calf, and Superior Livestock pioneered those as a company back in 1995. And even if you sell in a VAC pre-con at your local market, a lot of the times the health protocols that they use, they're based off this. And if you've got questions on our VAC protocols and what vaccines qualify and the recommended dosage and when to give it, all that's on our website at superiorlivestock.com, and I believe I also sent that to Andy to put on that thumb drive. But just vaccination trends in 1995, when we started this, close to 45% of the cattle that sold on Superior were unvaccinated. By the year 2013, it was less than 1%. And I mean, we're definitely at the place where if you're not vaccinating the cattle, you're getting discounted for it. And truthfully, when we first started doing the studies, up till about 2014, the baseline for those studies was unvaccinated cattle, but we got to the point, as you saw in 2013, less than 1% were unvaccinated, to the point that to get these premiums in these studies, the baseline's of Act 24. And it's going to continue to go that way, in my opinion. So the vaccination programs, I think a lot of people are honestly pretty familiar with this, but just to run through them briefly, VAC 24, really VAC 24 and VAC 34, those are for unweaned calves. VAC 24s, they're given a shot on cows at 2 to 4 months of age. VAC 34 is calves vaccinated on cows at 2 to 4 weeks prior to delivery. And truthfully, most calves that sell on Superior, they are on VAC 34 because we do sell more underweaned calves than weaned calves. And then VAC 45, that's a big one. That's been a big one with Superior. That yields a premium every year, and it's consistent. And that's just giving them 2 rounds of shots prior to your weaning and then boosted per instructions. VAC 45 is also for home-raised calves, and they have to be weaned 45 days prior to delivery. VAC 60 is pretty much the same thing. It's just they've got to be weaned 60 days. And we just implemented the VAC 60 program here within the last 2 years, but that's something that buyers are asking for. And when we add these value-added programs to Superior Livestock, there has to be a need in the industry. It has to serve the industry for us to give it consideration, but obviously the VAC protocols have been big. And then VAC Pre-Con is very similar to VAC 45 or VAC 60, but it's for put-together cattle, so ranches that bring in calves from multiple places. They'll vaccinate them when they arrive, then they'll booster them again, and they'll do it at least 14 days prior to them being delivered again. And then this is just a chart that shows you that the trend for vaccinations has grown over the years, and that VAC 45 has always been quite a bit higher than VAC 34. But keep in mind, VAC 45, they're weaned calves versus unweaned calves. And, I touched on this a minute ago, but the success in going from unvaccinated as a baseline for these studies to vaccinated has been big. And then just to give you an idea, VAC 45 has been a $7.51 premium. VAC 60 has been $7.92, and then the VAC Pre-Con's been $8.60, which truly there's less VAC Pre-Con than VAC 45, but those are very good premiums. Show you that on a per head basis. VAC 45 is a little over $45. VAC Pre-Con's over $50. And just a few value-added programs. Verified Natural Beef is a process verified natural by third-party auditors, and it basically just means that they're free of antibiotics, growth promotants, or any type of animal byproducts. NHTC is non-hormone treated cattle. GAP is an animal welfare program by the Global Animal Partnership. CARE Certified is also what I'd consider an animal welfare program. And then Superior Progressive Genetics is the value-added program that identifies load lots selling on Superior that are sired entirely by bulls bought direct from top seed stock producers. So if you see cattle selling on Superior Livestock and you see the Bradley 3 Ranch logo or R.A. Brown logo or Barber Ranch Hereford's logo, that's what that is. Beef Quality Assurance is just a national program that raises consumer confidence through offering proper management. Veg Fed, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but it's just another third-party auditors program that kind of goes with verified natural beef. And then Gain Smart and VitaFirm Raise are value-added programs that are based off of feeding a product or a mineral that Biozyme has created and partnered and really kind of labeled and promoted with us. In fact, I believe over 50,000 heads sold on that program last year. But just effects on 2020 calf prices from these value-added programs that had a pretty significant effect. BQA was $3 a head. GAP, it shows at $32 a head, or $5.48 per hundredweight. NHT was $19 a head, and Progressive Genetics was $7 per head. But I will tell you, just from watching these auctions, if you watch them on Superior, the ones that I see the real demand on and where I see them consistently yielding premiums is when verified natural beef and NHTC are bundled together and sold on there. And then obviously GAP or CARE Certified is kind of even up a level on that. But if you watch those cattle sell on Superior, it sure seems like they sell consistently $14 to $20 over what the normal market is that day. And then obviously a big factor in how these cattle sell are going to be a slide. We've got a conventional slide, we've got a two-way slide, and we've got a right slide. For the sake of time, I won't go into all that, but that's definitely a big factor on selling cattle for future delivery, because when you want these cattle to hit a certain mark in the fall, you're going to sell them with a slide. So if they come in heavy, you know, it's going to be less money on there. And it's insurance for the buyer when those cattle come in heavy as much as anything. But the one thing I will say about the right slide, and that's one that's been really popular, Superior instituted this. We call it the Superior right slide, and we call it that because this is what happens when everybody does everything right. But the right slide pays 80 cents per pound on everything that comes in over the average base weight. And typically there will be a 25-pound weight stop on those. And just looking here, and you can tell that $19 per head premium on cattle that are sold on the right slide with a weight stop. And then the cattle that are sold with a two-way weight stop are just a little bit discounted. So obviously, just kind of a summary, animal factors that add significant value were frame, flesh, breed, horns or no horns actually, and weight variation. Programs that add significant value, VAC 45, VAC 60, BQA, GAP, NHTC, and Progressive Genetics. And then just to give you a few more details, if you are considering selling on Superior, how our price structure is on calves, stockers, feeders. We charge 2% commission and then $2 head consignment fee. Again, you have the option to scratch them and go to one of the next two consecutive sales if you don't like what the market is on sale day. Or if you no-sell the cattle and don't reconsign them, you'll get charged a $3 per head no-sell fee. That's maxed out at $1,500 per consigner. Bred stocks 3%, and there's a $10 no-sell fee on those. You know, and then just some additional tips for selling on Superior. You know, I'd say pay attention to the market and have a realistic expectation for what your cattle were worth, and be ready to accept the market on sale day. I mean, we're in the business of selling cattle. We don't like to praise cattle. You know, we do good when you do good. I definitely go over all this data with your Superior rep and do it every year, see which programs are paying what and which ones justify the management and the time and the resources that go into hitting these programs. You know, and then we want people to do business, people that do business with us. And when I say that, you know, the guys that broadcast their bull sales on Superior, you know, give them some consideration when you go out to select your next bulls, and also know that on sale day, you know, they're going to help you with that Progressive Genetics program and showing their ranch logo, which hopefully adds value to your cattle on sale day. And then, you know, have good records of what your cattle traditionally weigh when you take them off the ranch. If you don't have good records, or you haven't sold on Superior before and you're a little nervous about it, then just consider selling them for immediate delivery. Sell them on a Thursday and deliver them the following Monday if you want. And then another big one is have enough cattle to do a good sort. So if we want to hit these even, really even cattle weights, it definitely helps to have enough cattle to sort off the top or the bottom and just have a really uniform set. And obviously, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you have a good product that's uniform and consistent every time, you typically get rewarded for that. Then on Superior, I would definitely sell the cattle on a VAC program. In fact, I would not sell on Superior if I didn't have them on a VAC program. I already said this, but consult your local vet for which vaccination programs. Then also, for those VAC programs, you do need to record the brands and the dates given and also the injection sites, because that will go on the contract for all this. And then the one thing, offering a good set of cattle consistently each year with Superior allows you to build a reputation with our buyers and for yourself. And again, if you're interested in selling with us, hit those guys up in the back. Just real quick on some more technology. I know this isn't going to be real pertinent to commercial cow-calf guys, but if a company is not working on improving business every day, you're going out of business. That's a quote from Joe Lichty, who's the vice president of Superior Livestock Auction. And just to let you know how the technology's changed, when we started, it was videotaped on 3/4-inch tape, VHS tapes, edited footage on multiple decks, broadcast sales on C-band satellite. And the only way to bid was in person or over the phone. Now we record it to an SD card in high definition, edit the footage on a computer. We conduct sales on video and then buy, sell on the country page. We broadcast on satellite TV, cable systems, and online, and the online portion continues to outpace everything else right now. We have online sale catalogs. Then you can watch and bid over your smartphone or a tablet. So really, that's it. If people have questions, I'd definitely be happy to answer whatever I can.
Yeah. He's done, so we got to get up there.
So, Jason, share with the crowd, if you were just a cow-calf producer and you've got a load lot of steers that you might could sell, and you've never done it before, how's the best way to get started?
The best way, if you're someone new, I would definitely call one of our reps and just have them come have a one-on-one conversation with you at the ranch. Show them the cattle, let them evaluate the cattle, tell you if you've got enough to do a good sort, if they're going to be even, and tell you, if you've got the management in place to put your best foot forward on sale day.
So has anybody got a question? So what if you have, say, 50 steers and 50 heifers? Can I still sell them?
You can. Traditionally on our video auctions, you need to have enough to do an entire load lot, or truckload lot, which is 48,000 pounds. So if you sell less than that, you're typically going to have a freight adjustment on there, and that's definitely going to turn some buyers away from that. So, I said it earlier, but if you want to sell on Superior, in my opinion, have enough cattle to do a straight load of steers and still have enough to be able to sort the top and the bottom end out, or sort a few off of it and have them be uniform, and have enough to have a straight load of heifers. And yet we can mix them and we sell them dollars back on the females, but I still think they sell best when they're separate.
So, Jason, a lot of people here buy their bulls, like Donald was telling, through Superior. What effect do good herd bulls have on the calves that these ranchers have to sell? And how has the Superior way of selling bulls affected the quality of the cattle overall that we're selling even today that might have been from bulls that were bought 4 or 5 years ago?
That's a good question. The quality of genetics definitely helps everything. If you watch the cattle that sell on Superior right now, that Superior Progressive Genetics accounts for over 50% of the cattle that sell on Superior. Obviously, Superior's contributions to making bulls all over the United States more readily available to people that can't be there on sale days help do that. But even on the slides that we saw from Cattle Facts today, we see what a higher percentage of cattle are reaching that prime and choice category right now compared to what they once did, and that's definitely because the genetics have improved. Getting good genetics has improved, and that's definitely been a big focus of Superior, is trying to improve the genetics that sell on Superior. And, just going into that progressive genetics program a little bit more, the cattle that sell on Superior before those cattle ran through the sell ring, I try to send out an email every time to stock producers who have customers selling on Superior to make sure that those genetics are correctly represented, because what we don't want to do is see a set of cattle represented as some type of genetics and not be that when they get to the feedlot.
One more question. Anybody want to put their hand up? Bruce. Here. I know there's a lot of here, Bruce.
I know there's a lot of variables, but you had BQA up there as one of the, do you have a feel for that or a figure for that? Have you been able to flesh that out as to what that might be?
What that premium was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it showed as $3 per head, or $3 per head on
And
that
that was
one.
for certified?
Beef quality assurance
Yeah.
certified.
Okay. Thank
So,
you.
and truthfully, that's one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily believe that it's on BQA every time it's $3, but typically those cattle that are verified national NHTC, they also have that tied into it.
So it's exciting to have somebody from the Texas Panhandle with such a tremendous knowledge of marketing. Some time ago, I represented Jason as a genius in marketing. And I think you've seen from his presentation today that I wasn't wrong. And so, Jason, thanks for what you do for helping our producers add value to their calf crops, to their feeder cattle, to having a great set of representatives that get out there and work hard for the beef cattle industry. And we just appreciate all you do for the beef cattle industry. So let's give Jason Barber a big round of applause.